Přátelé, je to historický okamžik, dva kapitáni si předávají slovo na můstku. Užijte si to.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
A předávám slovo překladateli.
Děkuji, Silvia. She's very good, right? Thank you. Thank you.
Vynikající, děkuji vám všem.
Thank you so much.
Děkuji mnohokrát.
She's lovely. Hello, Czech Republic.
Buď zdráva, Česká
We're in
republika.
Praha. I would wait a minute. I want to ask something, Sebastian, before, because that's going to dement me. How many of you speak English? Everybody speaks English. Almost everybody speaks English. So I'm going to start speaking. And then I'll just ask you at the end of my little moment to say something for those who don't speak English. I arrived in Prague 5 days ago, and I want you to know something. I was very skinny and very attractive when I arrived. Now there is not a starship big enough to get me back to the United States. I have been wined and dined to within an inch of my life, and I have had the most exquisite week. Prague is the most beautiful city I've ever seen. And you people are very interesting people. You are mysterious. You are slightly dangerous. You are very smart. And some of you are very cute. But all in all, what I felt is a sense of magic. From Prague Castle to Theresienstadt, which I visited for a day. And finished that day having a picnic on a river. What was the name of the river? Alishka. Something, the Elbe, the Olbe, the Albo, or something like that. It was absolutely lovely.
Ohře.
Oh, thank you. I'm doing the best I can. And I've met these people who have moved me so much. You know, I've done a lot of conventions, ladies and gentlemen. I've been on 4 planes a week for about 6 months. And not just conventions, it's work. So I'm starting to lose it. And something quite marvelous happened in Prague. They pulled me into who I really am, my most authentic self, because they are such real and extraordinary people. I think that the Czech Republic, Czechoslovakia, once Prussia, I mean, the history is so complicated and has been so devastated and has been so triumphant and has been in such distress that you people are a complex and marvelous group. And it is represented by these people who have taken such beautiful care of me this week. So I wouldn't have changed this week for anything. And I would easily have skipped Dusseldorf, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, and even Australia for just this week in Prague. You can say that, Sebastian, if you want. He's going to start in French. But what about those of you who speak no English? I can act. I'll act. I know why you're here, but I think you don't understand why I'm here, or why I am happy.
Good thing to ask.
Just a minute, work it out. It'd be a good thing to ask. What?
Kdo z vás anglicky nemluví, prosím?
I said, who doesn't speak English? Das ist nicht gut. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll do the best I can, Sebastian, but I mean, it's sort of dementing, do you know? I feel like the president or something. We're at the UN. Let me just tell you this, and then we'll open it up. Okay? Yes. We're here for one reason. You obviously love Star Trek, right? And some of you have my name on your shirts. And I think you are adorable. Look at this man. But we're here because we have the same idea about Star Trek. And that is that it is not for geeks, and it is not for nerds, and it is not for silly people, and it is not for outcasts, and it is not for losers, and it is not for insane people. It is for people who think on a very advanced level. This is the story of a starship lost in the Delta Quadrant because the captain missed the gas station. I had a complement of 165 crew lost in the Delta Quadrant, 75,000 light years from home. I had a job that was to get them home, and I had no idea how to do that in this uncharted quadrant. So I understood as first a human being, secondly an actress, and lastly as Captain Janeway, that my job was to embrace what a great scientist would embrace if in fact that scientist were in this position. And here's what I decided it was, and this is why I think Voyager, for me, was such an excellent period in my life. And, if I may say, a rather extraordinary chapter in the history of television. The first girl in the captain's seat, right? I said girl. Once a female captain, you never grow old. My best friend is in the front seat. I want you to stand up, Annie Stapleton, and wave to everybody. Stand up and wave. She came all the way with me. There she is. The ship that is lost in the Delta Quadrant is our life, right? We come from oblivion, and we go to oblivion. And in between is this briefest of windows, which we have called life. We don't know what it is, we don't know why it is, we don't know where we come from, and we certainly have no idea where we are going. So the mystery of life can drive you crazy, can make you intensely lonely, can make you unbelievably afraid, can reduce you to the smallest person within yourself, or it can exalt you. And what I think happens in Star Trek, what certainly I hope happened on Star Trek Voyager, is Captain Janeway and her crew found out the very best of themselves, how to transcend all of these philosophical and ideological problems, distress, fear, danger, terrible philosophical dilemmas. We had to transcend race, gender, creed, species. How many species did I have to deal with in 7 years? And we won't even talk about species 8472. Captain Janeway loved the Prime Directive. And what does it mean? Because this is what I think it's all about. How do we communicate with each other in the 1 second we have called life? We gather in a room in a far-off city called Prague. And we gather in this room to share an idea, which is that we may be small, and it may be very brief, but the idea is so big, and space is infinite. And our greatest tool is the tool of communication and goodness. So I hope if I did nothing else in my 7 years as Captain Janeway, I hope you saw that I wanted her to be a captain of dignity, of vitality, of humanity, of levity, and of love. And that means for every gay person, for every black person, for every Republican, we must have understanding, and we must bring to bear upon it all of our tools. So if you think that this journey has been interesting and entertaining for you, it changed my life as a human being. And I have traveled the world now many, many years in its wake, and I have learned an important lesson. Sometimes in a lifetime, you're given an opportunity that transcends even what it's called, which was a role on a television series. It has given me more opportunities to find out who I really am than anything on earth could possibly have allowed me. So when you ask me what it was like, I say, I am deeply privileged. I am deeply honored. And it has been my greatest joy to have done it. And I hope, ladies and gentlemen, that I've done it well. Now, do you want Sebastian to try to encapsulate that, or shall I go on?
Přejete si, abych přeložil, nebo abych pokračovala?
I think they want me to go on.
Zdá se, že chtějí, abych pokračovala.
And if you raise your hands when I'm finished, yes, sir. He needs translation.
Okay, give me a second, because I need to... okamžik, prosím, potřebuji... Give me a second, because I need to sort my notes. Okamžik, prosím, potřebuji si probrat popsané papíry.
Would you like a drink? Sit down. We will translate this, sir. I promise. We will. It's a difficult thing, isn't it? But this is another thing. It's exactly what happened on Star Trek. How do we communicate?
Já si všechno píšu, to znamená, pokud...
Tell him that's what I was talking about, this very thing.
I'm sorry, I didn't listen to it just
And
then.
I should have no problem communicating with him. He's an admiral, isn't he?
S ním bych neměla mít problém komunikovat, je to admirál. You have the same rank. He's an ensign, he says.
He's an ensign?
Ensign, yes.
I know that my obituary...
Já vím, že můj nekrolog
will say, Kate Mulgrew,
bude znít takto. Kate Mulgrew,
Captain Janeway,
čárka, kapitán Janewayová,
dies at 103
umírá ve věku 103 let
of overeating in Prague.
na přejídání v Praze.
Yeah. But I know that my obituary will say Captain Janeway. It won't say actress Kate Mulgrew. It won't say philanthropist Kate Mulgrew. It won't even say political activist Kate Mulgrew. It will say Captain Janeway.
Ale vím, že to bude kapitán Janewayová, nikoli politická aktivistka a všechny další přídomky, které jsem za svůj život nashromáždila.
And I have played many roles. Many roles before I got this job, and many since. But last week, I was in Dusseldorf with Sir Patrick Stewart. And we were talking. He invited me up to his private quarters for a drink. Yes, they all try. I said, what did you really feel? What did you really feel? Because you know it's going to be our obituary. He said, and bloody well should be our obituary. Absolutely the proudest 7 years of my life. I said, really is. There is no harder work. You have to know, I worked 85 to 90 hours a week. And that was a pretty reasonable week. I never saw my children except on the weekends. The technobabble was almost excruciating. What are these words? What does this mean? What am I going to do? Help me, right? So the first season I was flying by the seat of my pants. That's an American expression. Oh, the interpreter should be listening to me, shouldn't he? I was totally flying by the seat of my pants, and when I finally calmed down, I went to the Okuda Bible, which explains every scientific term in Star Trek, and I understood something. I found something out. It is all rooted in truth. So that started me on a journey of knowledge and of learning, which I adore, so it was fun. I read all the physicists that I'd missed. I concentrated on Richard Feynman because he's the only physicist with a sense of humor. But I went way back and I read Einstein. And Einstein said what in fact it's all about. Einstein said, E equals mc squared, but it's a leap of the imagination. I'm guessing that numbers curve in space. I'm assuming that calculus is round and elliptical. It's all guessing. It's all imaginative. So I came out thinking there's only one thing to say about this entire experience, and that is that the possibilities are infinite. And in deep space, they truly are. We live in a very small planet, which Feynman calls a suburb. Did you know that? It's not even an important planet. It's a tiny suburb. So I would have to say, if Earth is just a suburb, what do you think is going on? I think there's a lot going on that we don't know anything about. And in our lifetimes, we may not. But I think that it is there. And why shouldn't it be there? Why shouldn't it be there? So I've learned, I've grown, and I've traveled. And I have had a remarkable time. But I am really happy to be here this week. It has been an intense and original and a singular experience. And before I go on, and I am going to go on, I want Philip to raise his hand. I want you all to give him a clap. Elishka is here. Raise your hand. Therese and Vash and Jane. Yes, there they are. We've laughed and we've cried. I'll tell you a story that happened at Terezin. Do you want to hear it? Oh, and then I will have him translate the story.
Okay, we need translations.
Okay. But let me tell the story of Terezin and he can translate that. So we went to Terezin. Come, Sebastian, just get your thing. Here. You don't need papers. So we went to Terezin.
Takže my jsme jeli navštívit Terezín.
On a pilgrimage.
To taková pouť pro nás.
I am the only Gentile that I know
Jsem jediná křesťanka, o které vím.
who has studied the Holocaust.
Who has studied for Holocaust.
I have studied the Holocaust.
Která se zabývala studiem holokaustu.
I've read all of Martin Gilbert, 30 volumes.
Přečetla jsem všech 30 svazků Martina Gilberta.
I've read all of Elie Wiesel.
Elie Wiesel. Is that the name?
Elie Wiesel,
Elie
the great
Wiesel.
writer. Right, the great
Všechno,
Jewish
co napsal
writer.
Elie Wiesel,
And
velký
I've read
židovský
all
autor.
of Primo Levi.
A Prima Leviho.
Right. These are survivors of the death camps who have written extraordinary accounts. But I have never been to any of the death camps. And I have spent my life, and I'm at an age now, what? Can you do this? I have never been to the death camps.
Nikdy jsem v táborech smrti nebyla,
And I have always wanted to visit them.
ale vždycky jsem je chtěla navštívit.
I get to Prague,
Přijela jsem do Prahy
and I said,
a řekla jsem,
isn't Theresienstadt close?
je Terezín blízko?
And Philip said, yes, it's very close. I said, I want to go.
A Filip tamhle vzadu v sále říká, ano, velmi blízko. Já jsem řekla, tak jedeme.
And Philip and Therese said, we will arrange it. So out we went in 2 cars, which was a mistake.
A tak jsme se tam 2 auty vypravili, což
Because we
byla
went around in
chyba.
circles for about 3 hours.
Protože jsme chvíli jezdili kolem dokola,
But we finally made it to Theresienstadt.
ale nakonec jsme to do Terezína zvládli.
And I went in with my friend and the whole group. And we had a very interesting guide who made me, I don't know, he was an actor, I think. And now, my lovely guests, I want to prepare you for the tragical chapter. And you walked in and he said, this is Block A, where the women's barracks began. And I looked at it. I've waited 40 years to see this. And I stepped forward and I fell flat on my face. I just fell. And when they picked me up, I started to cry. We went inside the barracks and I couldn't stop. I don't think you should be writing this down. Now you can say that.
A když jsme tam přijeli, vystoupili jsme z auta, já a moje blízká kamarádka Annie, která sedí tady v první řadě, tak jsme se seznámili se svým průvodcem, který se jevil velmi distingovaně. Myslím, že to byl herec nebo něco takového, protože velmi dramaticky prohlásil na začátku prohlídky a tady začínaly ženské kasárny. A na tenhle okamžik já jsem čekala celý svůj život a udělala jsem krok a rozplásla jsem se jak široká, tak dlouhá. A když jsem vstala, tak mi po obličeji tekly slzy.
Are you good? That's good. And I think that the falling down was a metaphor for how I was really feeling. I think that it was very revealing that in that moment, with my very close friend, whom I love very much at my side, faced with the lotto of life, I simply fell down. And then they took me into the room where they had all the beds, all wooden slats, 20 of them, and I just started to weep. And I thought to myself, this is part of the great privilege of my journey as Kate Mulgrew, the actress. Nobody else gets to do this, and nobody else gets to learn from such a mystical experience. So It's been a week that I can't possibly begin to explain to you, except to say that I'll be coming back to Prague often. I will.
I'd like to ask whether you know or are you aware that the Theresienstadt is supposed to be converted into a campus, a university campus.
Oh no, I
A
wasn't.
jak by se vám to líbilo?
And what do you think about it? Do you like it?
No.
Ne.
I don't like it. It must remain
To
as a
musí
symbol.
zůstat tak, jak to stojí, jako symbol.
Jako ne ta malá pevnost, ale to město jako
Not
takový.
the small
Ta kasárna,
fortress,
tam
but
jsou vojenský kasárna. který
The
jste-
ghetto.
The city, the barracks,
The ghetto.
the ghetto.
To ghetto, ano.
No.
Ano.
No. I don't like that idea.
To se mi vůbec nezamlouvá.
No. I think we need to be reminded.
Myslím, že je třeba, aby to zůstalo jako určitý
There
monument.
are only 10 or 13 camps.
Je jenom 10
Terezín,
nebo 13 těch
Já
táborů.
jsem chtěl upřesnit, Terezín nebyl vyhlazovací tábor jako Dachau nebo podobně, ale bylo to jenom shromaždiště.
I'd like to say that it was not a death camp like
No, it
Dachau.
wasn't. It was a concentration camp. I understand that.
Ano, byl
The
to
ghetto.
koncentrační,
That's right.
rozumím.
But it was still a concentration camp.
Nebyl to klasický koncentrační tábor, byl to pracovní tábor.
It was a work camp, not really a concentration camp.
Okay. We won't get into the politics of Theresienstadt.
Myslím, že není třeba zabíhat do politických
Suffice it to say,
podrobností.
it was a very moving and powerful experience.
Pro mě je to taky vzpomínka, protože naše jedna třída tam byla uvězněna z naší školy.
But I'd like to say that for me it has a tremendous value as well because one class of the school I attended was held there.
Good. Very good.
To
All right.
jsem
Now,
ráda.
I want the other people who don't speak English to ask questions. I want you all to ask questions, but certainly those of you who don't speak English should go first because it's not fair otherwise, right? Who has a question for me?
Ráda bych poprosila ty, kdo nerozumí anglicky, aby se taky ptali,
Yes,
pokud mají zájem se ptát, protože dosud byli znevýhodněni, já se pokusím to napravit po skončení, a aby měli tedy příležitost zeptat se jako první, pokud mají nějakou otázku.
What are you doing? Don't jump.
Neskákej, co tu tam děláš u toho okna?
No, it's all right.
Je to v
All is
pořádku
forgiven.
zatím.
She's wrestling with the curtain. Ask questions. Somebody should ask me a question.
Tak otázky?
Yes, stand up, please.
Prosím,
At the
postavte
back.
se, tam vzadu
And shout it out.
a křičte. I'd like to move the topic away from Theresienstadt, back to Captain Janeway.
Great.
I'd like to know whether, when you created your performance, whether you put something from yourself into the role of the betrayal.
Yes, that's a good question.
To je dobrá otázka.
And a smart question.
Chytrá otázka.
And you are a very attractive person.
A vy jste velmi vnímavá osoba.
If the person, the actress, does not marry the character, it doesn't work.
Pokud jako herečka nevstoupím do nějakého intimního vztahu s tou postavou,
And at first, they tried to make me a man. They put my hair in a little ball. They flattened my bosoms. They put me in this suit, right? And they said, I think you should be very powerful. Talk very loud, very fast. Storm about that bridge. I said, oh my God. So for 6 months, they changed my hair in 6 months, 8 times. Patrick Stewart didn't have this problem, did he? 8 times! And 5 times I was called into Berman's office to talk about my bosoms. I said, what do you want me to do with my bosoms? He said, I don't know. What are you going to do when you meet the alien species? I said, celebrate them. He said, I'm just a little concerned. You know, our demographic is men 15 to 35. I said, and what does that have to do with my bosoms? Don't men generally like bosoms? That's the problem. That's the problem. Their mothers have bosoms. I said, you're insane. But I'll tell you what I will do. I said, Mr. Berman, I will not take a lover in the 7 years that my ship is lost in the Delta Quadrant. I will not do it. You can translate that now. So, naturally, I got more and more nervous, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you if somebody was constantly touching your bosom and touching your hair and fooling with your thing? And my voice, which is naturally quite low, started to get higher and higher and higher. And I was, and then they put me in boots that were 4 inches high because the men were 6 feet, right? So that I wouldn't look like a cartoon. So I'm in these high boots with a little knot on my head, and I'm running around hiding my bosom, right? And I just thought, I can't do this anymore. If these guys aren't gonna like me, guess what? They're not gonna like me. But my guess is, if I know my men, and I'm looking at you, if they let me lead them the way I lead, if they let me be myself, they will come. A certain group will never like me. I can't, you can't win that. But if they let me just relax into my captaincy, into my command, they will come. So I went to Berman's office and I said, the first thing we're going to do is this. Stop telling Commander Chakotay to come into my ready room. It's never going to happen. Why? Captain Sisko did it, and Captain Kirk did it, and Jean-Luc Picard did it. I said, they're men. We expect that from men. I'm a woman. And at the time I was 39 years old, of childbearing years. I said, they don't want to see me doing that. Isn't it bad enough I got this group lost in the Delta Quadrant? No, I'm going to be saying to Chakotay, in the ready room, now, right? I said, I am begging you, no love affairs. And let me assume my command the way I would assume it. I am begging you to let me speak from my heart with my own voice. Why don't you put a little Kate Mulgrew in this stew and we can figure it out instead of imposing all of this nonsense on me? And so finally they did. And by the end of the first season, the numbers just went like this. Because Kate Mulgrew walked up to Catherine Janeway and said, why don't we have a love affair? And that's what happened. And I know that a lot of you thought I should have had a big romance with Chakotay. Really? Who was going to run the ship? If numbers 1 and 2 were busy in the office? Huh? Who? Ensign Kim? Too busy gambling. So that's what we did for 7 years. I did have a little romance on the holodeck, which was, I thought, sort of silly. Even pathetic, wasn't it? She finally gets to program the love, right? The love of her life. I said, oh, I'm so excited because it's not real, it's fake, so I can have it. I'm going to program this wonderful guy. And he came out and he was 5'7". And he was a little Irish guy. Now, who are you doing, Captain? Give me a big kiss now, won't you? I said, this is Captain Janeway's dream? I said, I think you've lost it. So that's when I created Da Vinci. I went to Berman and I said, let's do a great holodeck. The one problem I think Janeway has is that she's a scientist. She's pure science. She's always talking science. She's always talking the prime directive. She's always talking about what's right. Where's her imagination? Where's her creative side? Where's her whimsical side? Where is she when she lets her hair down? That little ball. Let's program in the holodeck a relationship between Janeway and Leonardo da Vinci. He said, that's a very good idea. And, ladies and gentlemen, this will interest you. We had it only for a season. Do you remember? The audience didn't really like it. They didn't want Janeway to be creative that way. They wanted Janeway to be a scientist. So, you see what I mean about the Star Trek fan base? Very smart. Who else has a question for me?
Was there a role on the series which you secretly coveted? If you were to be somebody else but Captain Janeway.
A member of my crew, you mean?
Moji posádku myslíte na Voyageru.
Would you please stand up, sir?
Postavte se, prosím, pane.
No.
No.
Was there a character on my series that you secretly coveted?
Je snad nějaká postava na mé lodi, po které vy byste tajně toužil?
No, ani to není tajný, no.
He didn't mean it that way, but what did he mean then?
Well, who would you like to play?
Who would I like to play if I couldn't play the captain?
Yes.
Why would I want to play anybody but the captain?
Proč bych někoho jiného než kapitána proval? Co je to za otázku?
But I'll tell you who I adored.
Ale řeknu vám, koho jsem zbožňovala.
Guess who I adored? Let's see how smart you are.
Schválně, zkuste to.
Who did I adore working with on that series?
S kým jsem zbožňovala spolupracovat na tom seriálu?
Neelix.
Neelix?
Wonderful, no, but there's one
Ten
outstanding.
byl
Who
skvělý.
can guess?
Kdo to uhádne?
Who? The Doctor. The Doctor. A great actor. And believe me, ladies and gentlemen, those days were hard. I left my house in the dark at 4:30 in the morning, right? They didn't pick me up. I drove to Paramount, which was 45 minutes away, in the dark. I got into makeup in the dark, and I was on this downstage in the dark by 5:30, 5:45. And I left in the dark. That's what the week was like. I started my day in the dark, and I went to bed in the dark. But always I was greeted in the medical lab by Bob Picardo. Good morning, Captain. Let's try to make this a great scene. He was always prepared. He was always full of life. He made it so much easier for me, because that is a grind. And if your fellow actors are not with you, and they're not on top of it, and they give up caring, it makes it a burdensome and very difficult experience. So I loved him for that. He was right there. They all were. But it was tough. It was tough, you know, as the years went by to maintain that great vitality. Anyway, the beauty of life is friendship. It supersedes everything else, in my experience and in my opinion. Bob Picardo and I became very, very close friends. And who else do you think was my great personal friend? I had two really close. Bob Picardo and who else?
Kdo další byl asi tak můj velký přítel při natáčení?
Who is she saying?
Tim Russ?
No, he's a good friend.
Ne,
There was one
taky
who was
dobrý přítel,
really
ale vedle.
the pilot. Robbie McNeil, Mr. Paris at the wheel.
Pan Paris.
Bob Picardo, by the way, is a devout Roman Catholic. How many of you in this room are practicing Catholics?
Bob Picardo je ortodoxní katolík. Kdo z vás je
One.
praktikující katolík tady v místnosti? Jeden. Dva.
Two.
Three?
Not a very Catholic group. Three.
Není moc katolická skupina tady.
But Bob Picardo walked the walk and talked the talk. There are a lot of Catholics who give lip service to being good, but he was really good. He was a very, very good man, and I have formed a deep relationship with him over the years. So that has been a great blessing. All right, who else has a question? What is the question?
The question is, how did...
You think I speak fluent Czech?
No, I don't. I never would assume. The question was...
You're very wise not to assume. What's the question?
The question was, how did you say goodbye to the show, personally? And
They're not going to want to hear that story.
whether you would like to undertake a journey into space in real life.
Two good questions.
To jsou to dvě dobré otázky.
Leave it to the woman. Two good questions.
Žena se zeptá na to, co je důležité.
The end of the series was brutal, unexpected, and so fast my head was spinning. One by one, over the course of 6 weeks, they let everybody go. Neelix was the first. Then there was a month left, and then Tuvok left, and then Roxanne left, and one by one, all the scenes were winding down. Goodbye, goodbye. Almost 7.5 years. Goodbye, goodbye. Kate, we need you for a whole week just by yourself. We need to do pickups, we need to do some close-ups, we need to do lots of little things on the bridge, so you'll have a week's work alone. Okay. I went to my captain's chair. I said engage about 500 times. I stood up, I said red alert about 1,000 times. I did it all. I did it in close-up, I did it in cowboy, I did it in medium, I did it. I did it all for 6 days alone. And then I sat down in the chair and he said, I want you to just give one powerful engage and let's do it to space. So I said, Lieutenant, engage. cut, print, thank you. And one of the crew guys came and started to unscrew my chair. They lifted the chair, they took the chair. I was still standing on the bridge. I'm not kidding. And all the other guys, characters, had stolen their console, so the bridge looked like it had just been devastated. And I was standing there, my chair was gone, the bridge was being dismantled, they were all... And I saw in the doorway, this still makes me cry. I saw in the doorway a silhouette that I had come to love so much. It was a silhouette of one of my characters, one of my crew, and that silhouette was holding a bottle of champagne. And then that silhouette moved forward, and it was my divine doctor. And he said, "Captain, may I take you for a drink, and we will celebrate 7 years of glorious work together." We put our arms around each other, and we walked off the bridge. And that's how it ended for me. None of the brass came down. None of the producers came down. The doctor. That's the story of life. Tough, right? You'd think... Yeah. How do you think about it?
What was it like for you to play the Queen of Arachnids in one of the episodes?
Oh, well, that was fun.
To byla
You know,
legrace.
it was great fun to get out of myself for a while. And she was wild, wasn't she? And who was that actor who was in that with me? I could not get through a take because he had me laughing so hard. Tears were streaming down my cheeks. We must have done 17 takes. It was great fun to do that. That's the week I said yes to Tim Hagen. I played Queen Arachnia, my second husband. Anyway, that's another story. I think that we should open this up now to the English-speaking people as well, so that everybody gets a chance to ask a question if they have a question. You, sir, stand up. I'll just take you as I see you, or I'll take you as you come, or whatever. Yes? Oh, I didn't go. No. I was supposed to go. But Captain Janeway doesn't always do what she's supposed to do. I didn't go because of something that was happening in my private life. And furthermore, I didn't think that the production was ready, to be perfectly honest. So I didn't go. And to answer your first question, I happen to be a rather good cook. I love to cook. I'm a fierce cook, in fact. I'm not as good as Annie, but I'm very good. To me, it's the greatest celebration, to cook for friends. I can cook just about anything. Love to cook a chicken, though. Nothing like a roast chicken, right? And I'm going to go home, and you know what I'm going to cook? Dumplings. Potato and bread dumplings in a beef sauce. That's what you all love. And I'm going to make 500 brats. And I'm going to pour myself a beer like this. And I'm going to put myself in a big flowing tent. Gonna eat it. This is good food in this country, huh? I mean, you know, in New York and LA, everybody's always on a diet, constant diet. You know, and when I played Janeway, I never ate. Running, running, running. So that's what I'm going to cook when I go home. Next question?
I've got a question about politics. Before the last presidential election, you said that you supported Barack Obama. And I was wondering, with the next presidential election coming up, are you still standing behind him?
Do you think that I am fickle?
No, I don't. But I mean, he had to really
I stand
compromise.
behind my choice, and that is Obama.
Very good.
Let me tell you something about Obama. If you read history, which I suspect you do, I have learned in my, I was going to say short life. I don't want to make you laugh. I have learned in my life that if you read enough history, you understand what these leaders must go through in order to develop fully. Barack Obama reminds me of Abraham Lincoln. Nobody liked Lincoln. His ratings were very poor. Nobody bought it. Even Lincoln thought the emancipation of the slaves was the wrong idea. But when he was shot and assassinated in Ford's Theater, the country mourned for 100 years. His greatness revealed itself over time, And this is what will happen with Barack Obama. He was left a pile of... What's the Czech word for shit? He was left craziness by George Bush to sort through the Saddam Hussein thing, the weapons of mass destruction, Iraq, the Middle East, and now Israel, not to mention Sudan. He was left with a mess. He got bin Laden. He's organizing the economy. Yes, I stand behind him. He's a fine man. You, madam. Is it madam or sir? It's a man. You look like Jesus. I'm sorry. Sorry, what is your question? Thank you.
As a Jesus, I bless you all.
Okay.
Okay. I just would like to ask you about your role in Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2, Flamet. Was it interesting for you? And can you laugh as a Flamet for us? Please.
Can I laugh at the what? As Flemeth? You know, I've almost forgotten her. I've done her twice now. There's no greater fun. That's a good question. Because I'm so used to being in front of the camera. To be without the camera, in a room, private, with just the headphones, the engineer, and the producer, it's heavenly. You can create anything. So I had to find the voice of infinite evil. Oh, it's so much fun. You know, and you can go anywhere you want. So, to answer it, yes, and I think there's another one. It's hugely popular. Do you know that? All over the world. You're Jesus.
Of course, I know everything.
It's okay, good. Yes, sweetheart.
Okay, so you said that doctor and some more actors there were religious person, I would say. And I think much of America until today is, or America is very Christian country until today. So I would like to ask you, I think in Voyager, even in some episodes, you were dealing with like religious things and doubts and faith. So it somehow influenced the series. But yet I would say that, or I had the feeling that the creators of Star Trek were rather afraid to really state something like, oh yes, we believe. Or even Captain Janeway was like more scientific type and like avoiding.
Yes, you're right.
So why, or what can you say about it?
Well, because we're talking after all about science fiction. We're not talking about philosophy or theology, right? If the captain were to state that she adheres to a religion, it already puts her in a box. I think the important thing is that she transcends religion, because each species has its own belief. And that's why she has to be able to communicate on their level, not on her level. So I think to impose a religious or theological perspective on a character of Janeway's stature would be a mistake. It would be off-putting. And regarding your remark about the Christian nature of the United States of America, most of it's born again. You know that, don't you? Do you understand that? No. Most of it's what I call a false religion. There are very few very holy people in the world. And most of them don't talk about their religion. They just are, right?
Že třeba dát tam
And I have to
prostor těm
interrupt here.
myšlenkám.
Janeway would not tolerate a proselytizer. Do you know that? She would despise a proselytizer. Janeway would not allow it. It's true. Do you remember Death Wish? Do you remember that episode? That's when Janeway said, she stated that she did not believe in suicide. But in the course of 2 hours, I came to understand his point of view. Why should he be forced to live in the continuum in despair when he had the opportunity to end his own life? At first, I rigidly said, because life must be valued. The primary value must be on life. And he said, not if it has to be forever. This is my choice. And I gave it to him in the end. That was the beauty, I think, of Janeway. That was the beauty of my ship. You don't understand what I'm saying. So, Sebastian, you. With the comm badge, yes.
Can I ask you?
You have a Borg thing on you. Oh, I see. Seven of Nine. Yes, yes?
And that's about my question. Can I ask you about your real relationship with Jerry Ryan in real life?
I don't have a relationship with Jerry Ryan. I don't. Let me explain about Jerry Ryan, okay? Before we all get into the tabloid. Can I just explain this?
Můžu se zeptat s překladem teda? Bylo po mně požádáno.
Do you want to interpret while I'm in? Oh, give him the question.
Chtěl jsem se zeptat na vaše jakoby pocity ohledně Endgame a vlastně zakončení.
No, but I have to answer this question. What?
Já se omlouvám, já zodpovím tohle, potom bude otázka. No.
Dobře.
Un momentito. Just one second, because this is an important question because it's asked, because I know that everybody thinks we had a big problem with each other. No, I have a problem with anybody who's late. Okay? Jerry Ryan was always late. She was always late. She was a knockout. The numbers went up, right? She was fantastic in the role. I applaud that. But I have no relationship with the girl. No. I don't disparage her. I don't disrespect her. I just don't have her. I don't like to be kept waiting. I really don't.
So you are a
So don't
good
do
actor.
it. Huh?
That you are a good actor.
I guess it was a compliment. You are a good actor.
Oh, thank you. Yes, Janeway loved Seven of Nine. Janeway, and if I met Jerry Ryan on the street, I would embrace her. I'm just saying in the moment. And the other thing is, if you want me to be perfectly frank, do you want me to be frank? Something. Annie's going, oh, please don't be frank anymore. I was hoping against hope, honey, that Paramount, UPN, and episodic television had the courage of its own convictions, and by putting a female in the captain's seat, they would allow the female command to stand for itself without sex. Right? There could be ancillary sex. Everybody fell in love. But I thought, let's just try to do it with the integrity of being the female captain. Let it stand on its own 2 feet. When they fired the girl who played Kiss, and they brought in this, I mean, do you remember the first time you saw her? The camera started at her feet. The heels were 6 inches. And went up the body. That never ended. And Janeway, I mean, I felt like a little pipsqueak looking up at a very tall and daunting tree. And I just said, oh my God. So my argument with it is philosophical and political. I don't have any argument with Jerry Ryan, but she should learn to be on time. Next question? Yes, sir. Oh, that's right. But don't print that. Everybody prints things like that. Please don't print anything about that. Can you understand it from my perspective? Can you? We all love a thing of beauty, but a thing of honor is greater, isn't it? And I was hoping we'd strike one for the girls. Oh well. Next question.
Já jsem myslela, že...
Oh, this man keeps trying to ask. You ask.
Yeah,
Why are we getting, we're pushing each other over. Yes, what is your question?
Já bych se chtěl zeptat ohledně Endgame a vlastně zakončení celého Star Treku Voyager, jestli nemáte takový dojem, že tam chybí jako jedna epizoda, kde by se prostě něco ukázalo, kdy jsou už na Zemi a tak podobně. Jestli to není takový ustříhlý moc.
I know what he asked. I'm going to guess. Don't say. Endgame did not satisfy you because it left too many loose ends. Am I right? You want to know why we didn't make a better ending? This was my call because we had 2 hours to finish 7 years. So I went into the writer's room and I sat down with them and I said, we can't win this one. You know, it's impossible to say goodbye. So I want one of us to go down with the ship. Let's do a split. Let's have Admiral Janeway and Captain Janeway come together to save the ship, but somebody has to go on a suicide mission, and let it be Admiral Janeway. I know that other things were resolved poorly. I mean, when did Chakotay and Seven of Nine fall in love? I never saw it. Did you? People, you know, all of that. But I loved what happened with Admiral Janeway. However, I think what you're saying is that it's very, very hard to say goodbye. I hope that's what you're saying. Are you saying that? Evidently not. Okay. What Eliška? What Philip? This is part of my team of drinkers and eaters. Do you need to interpret that?
I need to, but are you finished?
But I think everybody got it. They understood, right? Yes, we can go on to the next question. Down back there, sweetheart.
Hello, Kate. It's wonderful to finally meet you after almost 20 years of waiting.
20 years?
Yes.
Oh, that's devastating. God.
I love you, by the way.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
My question is, what do you think about the slash fanfiction stories? Thank you.
The what? The what? What?
Slash fan fiction. You know,
Slash fan?
Kirk on Spock, etc.
What does it mean? I don't know what it means. I have no idea what you mean.
Nemám tušení, na co se mě ptáte.
Is it about sex?
Probably.
Oh, is it about sex?
It's rather about gay relations between the members of the crew.
I'll tell you what I think about that. Not about members of the crew. And if that's about erotic, gay stuff, no. But I'll tell you what's missing on Star Trek is a gay person in command.
Woo!
That's next. But, and I like you too, so I'm going to be very frank with you. I think all that erotic porno stuff brings it all down. It always does, honey. 99% of convicted criminals are porn addicts. It doesn't do anything but reduce you to your least good self, right? So no, I don't advocate any of that. Not at work, at any rate. Okay, next question.
Odpověď byla fanfiction jako slash si myslím, že Star Trek stahuje někam do hlubin. Ale to, co si myslím, že ve Star Treku chybí, je kapitán, který by byl gay, nebo která by byla gay.
One night, I was getting ready to go home, and I heard this thump on I had a trailer for a dressing room. And I opened the door, and there was this book, about this thick. And it was all about Janeway being a dominatrix. And of course, I had to take it to security, but not until I'd read every single page. I said, Janeway was very busy in her ready room. No, but it's you know, why is that in science fiction so prevalent, do you think? Why do people love that? I guess people just love sex, right? Who loves sex? Czech Republic, yes.
I would like to have two questions. Is it okay?
Of course.
First, your husband is a politician. What do you think? Is it more difficult to make a good show as an actor or as a politician?
My husband is a politician. This is very difficult. It's much easier to be an actor. Much easier. Trust me.
But politicians must also be good actors sometimes.
No, they need to be real. A good politician is a real person. No, it's hard to be, much, much harder to be a good politician than it is to be a good actor. Does that answer your question, Martina?
It's true.
Yes, good. Good. Now, I think we should have a few more. Do you have a question?
Good afternoon to you. My name is Marek, and I'd like to ask, if it were at all possible, would you exchange your life for the life of Captain Janeway? I don't think he means sacrifice. He means
No, I think
a trade-off.
I know exactly what he means. What do you think? You answer. You've seen me for about an hour. What do you think?
No, co vy myslíte? Viděl jste mě asi tak hodinu teď, tak co byste řekl?
Já si myslím, že asi tu kapitánku Janewayovou.
I think it would be Captain Janeway.
You think I would be?
He thinks.
It would. You know, I think you might have a point.
No, možná máte v něčem pravdu.
I'll tell you what I do love increasingly as I get older. Although I'm still not very old, you know. I was very young when I took that part.
Já vám povím, co bych zbožňovala.
I was 12. I love to explore. So if I had the guts to do it, I would love to explore outer space. Wouldn't you?
Já bych se chtěla vydat na výzkum vesmíru.
Guess who's got a ticket to Mars?
Vy ne?
Pee Wee Herman. Nobody knows who Pee Wee Herman is. All right, I want to ask you something. You're all asking me questions, so many questions. When do I get to ask somebody a question? Huh? I want somebody to answer this question. Would you just look at your tickets? I'm just going to make a guess. Who's got 201 on their ticket? Number 201.
Kdo z vás má na vstupence anebo
Yes, will
na
you stand
židli
up?
201?
The woman. I'll take the woman. Do you speak
dáma?
English?
Ne,
No.
ta dáma
So can I
nehovoří
ask
anglicky.
you? You're all asking me questions. Let me ask you a question.
Já bych se
okay?
vás zeptala na
And
nějakou
let's get off
otázku.
science fiction for a second.
A přejdeme teď stranou science fiction.
Are you in love?
Jste zamilovaná?
Really?
Opravdu?
You're in love?
Zamilovaná? Doopravdy?
Ano.
Yes, I am.
I want you to come up on the stage.
Tak v tom případě, prosím,
I
pojďte
can't
sem,
be- I want
pojďte
to
sem na
see you.
pódium.
I love to see a woman in love. Come up
Ráda
here.
bych se podíval na ženu, která je zamilovaná.
She's a woman in love and she's coming up.
Zamilovaná žena jde k nám na pódium.
Dun, 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 oh, and look how pretty she is. Come on over here. Come up these
Pojďte
steps.
tudy, prosím. Tady po schodech.
And I want to ask you a few questions in Czech.
Ráda bych se zeptal na pár otázek česky.
Are you sure that you are in love?
Musím to zopakovat. Jste si doopravdy jistá, že jste do někoho zamilována?
Určitě.
Are you
Totally.
deeply in love?
Je to hluboká láska.
Určitě.
How do you know for sure?
Jak to víte tak jistě? Jak si můžete být jistá?
Protože jsme spolu 10 let.
Because
a
we
je
are-
to pořád jako první den.
Because we are together for 10 years and it's always as if it were the first day.
Really?
Doopravdy.
Boy,
Tedy,
if that's true, then I only have one sad thing to say.
je-li to pravda, tak vám
It's too
můžu...
bad I won't be able to meet him. Wait a minute. Is somebody standing up in the back? Is somebody standing up?
Stává tam někdo vzadu?
Is that a man in love?
Je to zamilovaný muž?
Come up here.
Pojďte sem, zamilovaný muži.
Come up here. He even walks. You see, a man in love can't even walk slowly. He has to run. Come on up. Come here.
Pojďte sem, zamilovaný muži.
Now. Oh. You. Stand together.
Postavte se k sobě.
Face the audience.
Podívejte se k publiku.
I don't know. The children.
A ty děti teda potom.
The children will either be very, very little or very, very big.
Ty budou buď miniaturní, nebo gigantické.
Are you madly in love with this girl?
Jste do ní šíleně zamilovaný?
For sure, definitely.
How do we know that?
Jak si můžeme být jistí, že ano?
Is there something that you...
Are we sure?
Jsme si jistí?
Jistí?
Určitě.
They definitely are, yes.
Yes?
So is something going to happen? Stane se teď něco?
I'd like you to come here. Face the group. Because a man who loves a woman must have courage. Correct, gentlemen?
Muž, který miluje ženu, musí být odvážným mužem, není to pravda?
And I can see in his beautiful face that he is shaking with fear, but that his love is great. So I'm going to let you say what you need to say to that lovely girl.
Já myslím, že musíte svoji odvahu demonstrovat.
Takže je to 10 let, co spolu jsme. A těch 10 let uplynulo strašně moc rychle. A já si nepřeju a vím, že ty taky nic jiného, než aby to bylo daleko delší. Aby to bylo 50 dalších let, který strávíme spolu. A tak bych se tě chtěl zeptat. Vzala by si mě?
Yes, yeah! That's the way it should be done. Let's give it for
Tak
them.
by se to mělo dělat.
I have one thing to say to them, and one thing only.
Řeknu vám ještě jedinou věc.
Live long and prosper.
Žijte dlouho a šťastně.
All right. God bless you both. Wonderful. We'll go
Hodně
and take
štěstí.
pictures. Thank you. Now, I would like to do one thing because I think we're ending the session, right?
Myslím, že se
I want
blížíme ke
every
konci.
member of my team on this stage. I
Ráda
don't
bych
want any nonsense out of any
na
of you.
pódium pozvala organizátory.
Ališka, Philip, Therese, John, Vash. Who else is back there? Ava? Come quickly. Paul? All right, come up quickly, but we can't.
Pospěšte si.
No, I'm not going to make them if they don't want to. Come. Stand here and watch what I'm going to do. The loveliest and the sanest of the bunch. She handled everything, and she handled it all with grace. This is the organizer. Dangerous, but delicious. Philip. Without him, I wouldn't be here. And he's made every second of my trip an absolute joy. Therese. Molto misteriosa. Full of mystery, full of depth, full of currents. She's full of emotion. But I think she has been the heart of this convention. And I think that without Therese and her beautiful soul, it wouldn't have been such a moving and gorgeous experience. So I thank you. Jane, silent, but very deep and very strong. And I have felt your respect and your honor from the moment I arrived. And I want to thank you for that. This one, I have a problem with. I'm going to have to carry him home with me in my suitcase. This is Vash. And I just get him. I get him. He fell down with me at Theresienstadt. And he cried with me. And he drank with me a lot this week, too. He's a very special man. Very smart, very sensitive, and very fine. And I hope we meet again. Thank you. These two have been marvelous, so full of joy and constant and true. I thank you for everything you've done. This is the best team I've ever worked with. And I am happy to come back to Prague anytime you will have me, and I will bring my crew with me, and I thank you. Da qui from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Now let's go get some pictures taken, sign some autographs, and I can talk to everybody. We're not leaving. Oh no, we're not leaving just yet. We have an auction.
Ale ještě není konec, ještě nám zbývá aukce.
For my charity, which is Alzheimer's.
Na moji nadaci, která se zabývá výzkumem Alzheimerovy choroby.
My mother died of Alzheimer's disease.
Moje matka zemřela na tuto chorobu.
And I have worked directly with a splinter group of doctors and neurosurgeons at the University of Minnesota Hospital Grossman Center, and I have raised over $2 million.
A já jsem spolupracoval přímo se skupinou lékařů a neurochirurgů na univerzitě v
It is
Minnesotě.
very difficult, ladies and gentlemen, because every clinical study costs about $60 million.
A vybrala jsem $2 miliony, což ale není zdaleka tolik, jak si můžete myslet, protože každá klinická studie stojí kolem 60 milionů.
Dies in a clinical study, they shut it down. And you have to start all over again. And we're so close. We are so close. Prevention is the cure, but we need the funds for research. And the reason Alzheimer's doesn't get a lot of money is because it's not sexy. Do you know what that means? It's not... Check Alzheimer's. What does that mean? You do. No. I don't know what that means. Let's do the auction items. Come on. Let's do the auction items. And I'm going to start with an auction item that I have offered up. I'm going to ask my dear friend Annie Stapleton to come up onto the stage. Take a look at this beautiful woman, ladies and gentlemen. Direct from Los Angeles, one of the greatest chefs in the world.
Přímo z Los Angeles
Anne-Marie Stapleton.
Moje přítelkyně, jedna z nejlepších kořek na světě, Anne.
And so, I said to her, we're staying together in the same room, and I said, I'd like to be able to offer something up. What do you think? And she said, let's do a meal. So, Annie, if you take that.
My jsme byli spolu, sdíleli jsme pokoj a já jsem přišla s nápadem, že bych ráda něco vydražila. A Annie řekla, tak co kdybychom dražili večeři?
Do you want to read it?
This is a candlelight dinner for 4 with some wonderful wines to go with it, of course, and the company of Kate at her home in New York.
Takže dražíme večeři při svíčkách pro 4 osoby s vybraným vínem v New Yorku v bytě Kate Mulgrew.
It will really be a night.
A to by byla nějaká noc.
I will be cooking, Kate and I will both be cooking.
Já i Kate budeme vařit.
And I think really it's something that you will never forget.
Myslím, že na takový večer nikdo z vás nezapomene, pokud se ho zúčastní.
Dinner at my apartment for 4 people.
Večeře u mě pro 4.
And Stapleton will prepare a 5-course meal. We will have beautiful wines. And we're going to begin the bidding.
A N připraví vynikající večeři o 5 chodech.
At $800 American dollars.
A začínáme na $800. Což je 16 000.
There's a lady back there. I've got $800 American dollars.
Dáma vzadu $800.
Huh? Yeah? Can we go more than 800?
Dá někdo víc?
Well, I have, what do I have? Do I have $900? $900 in the front row.
$900.
Can we have $1,000 in the back, ladies and gentlemen? $1,000. Listen, my apartment overlooks the Hudson River. I'm wildly amusing. Annie is the best cook in the world. We'll talk about everything you want to talk about. It'll be a great, great night, and it'll be a long night. So I have $1,000 in the back. Do I hear more? Do I hear $1,100? $1,100. Or even $1,200, and we'll finish it at $1,200. Do I have 12? I have $1,200 in the front row. Should we finish it at $1,200?
$1,200.
Can we go up? No? Can we go to $1,500 and call it the $1,500? $1,500. Oh, it's a lot. All right, I'm at $1,500. I want you to stand up because you are intrepid and you are great.
$1,500. Postavte se, prosím.
$1,500, but I know that woman in the back wants to come, don't you? Do I hear $1,600? $1,600!
Ne, dáma vzadu, 1,600.
Do I have $1,700 and we could pretty much wrap this thing up? $1,700? All right, it's between the man and the woman. Why don't you come together at $2,000 and share a hotel room?
Tak co kdybyste přijeli spolu za 2,000?
Done?
Já jsem tu dámu vzadu neviděl.
$2,000 and you come together. Do you have a wife?
Za 2,000 a přijedete spolu.
Do you have a husband?
Někdo z vás ženatý, vdaný?
Oh, we can't please everybody. Come on up. Come on up. How are we going to make this work?
She's speaking English and he does.
I know, but you. Now we're in a very important. We're at $2,000. Would you like to come together, or would you like to come separately with somebody that you want to come with? You have somebody. You do, and you have somebody. How do we make this fair? How do we make it so they can both come with the person that they love? What do you think, Therese? What?
Já to řeknu.
Wiener Schnitzel?
Well, it's for 4 people, and these
It's
are
for
2
4.
pairs of people.
It's
so
for 4
I think-
people, so if you bring somebody, and you bring somebody, it's 4 for $2,000. That's it. A night in New York. Bravo. Good, good, good. You do it today. Come up, come up. Yay. Oh, I'm so happy. Thank you. Thank you. Won't we have fun? Huh? This will have to be subject to everybody's availability in the year 2012, next year. We will all organize it together. Annie will cook, I will drink, and we will all laugh. All right? It'll be a great night. Oh, I'm
already looking forward.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. You're great. You're great. Thank you, sweetheart. All right. Let's give them a clap. Yay! Can I give this to them? Here you are.
Probably, yes.
There you are. You share that with her.
Oh,
Yay!
I have to, so it's good.
Okay. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's go into the next room so I can sign everybody's autograph and meet you all and have some pictures taken, correct? Yes? Yes?
I don't think so. Another
Oh,
question,
another.
then pictures.
Oh, but I'm not going to, you do that.
Yes.
It's a cup that I signed. Who wants this cup?
Aukce bude ještě chvíli pokračovat.
It's my coffee cup.
Potom budou
Captain
fotografie.
Janeway, how much?
Podepsaný šálek.
$100? $500?
Podepsaný šálek za $500.
Dollars or crowns?
Crown. 500 crowns.
What's 500 crowns in dollars?
Ooh, 250?
$250?
No, 25. 25.
Well, I happen to know that you could... Sold! Come up here.
Prodáno za $500.
Sold! $500? You're too much. Now I'm going to jump in that cup for $500. Come on up here, sir. Thank you very much. Aren't you generous? You're so generous, people. Come here. Aww. Thank you.
No, thank you.
So much. Yay. Let's give him a good hand. Yes, yes. It's the male t-shirt? Male. She says this is a male t-shirt.
Je to
I
pánské
don't know what
tričko.
that means. I don't see any signs that it's male.
Já tam nevidím žádnou
It has
značku,
my
že by to
name
tak
on it,
bylo.
and I've signed it.
Ale podepsala jsem
So
ho.
it's a Kate t-shirt. Purple is the color of Alzheimer's. So
Fialová je barva
who wants this
Alzheimera.
t-shirt signed?
Chce někdo podepsané tričko?
How about 100 crowns? How much is that?
Za 100 korun.
How about 200 crowns?
Co 200?
How about 300 crowns?
Co 3?
How about 500 crowns?
500? Dá někdo
How much is
500?
that in dollars?
20, about 20.
It cost $20 to make the t-shirt.
To tričko samo o sobě stálo $20.
It's signed.
Je podepsané.
And if you get it, I will write you a message on the back when you come in through the line.
Když vyhrajete aukci, napíšu něco na zadní
But I
stranu.
think it's worth at least $100.
Ale aspoň $100 podle mě.
Do I hear $100 for this t-shirt? Sold. Come up and get it.
Prodáno za $100.
All right. Are we done now? I don't want to.
Two more
Here's the
items.
female one now.
Dámské tričko.
Who wants the female one?
Kdo chce dámské
Stand
tričko?
up, sweetheart. Do you want it for $100?
Za $100 dámské tričko?
No, you don't.
Ne.
No, but she's so lovely. What can you afford? What can you afford? Ask her.
Co si můžete dovolit?
What did she say?
500 crowns.
What?
500 crowns.
And how much is that? In dollars.
About 20? No, yes, $20.
That's not going to help us too much with the
A
clinical
to nám
study.
tolik nepomůže.
But I like you so much. I'm going to say yes.
Ale
Come
řeknu
up.
ano.
Who said 100? $100
Za $100?
for the woman's shirt?
Za dámské tričko?
That's for your girl. All right. And I'm
vaše
going to get
děvče,
you something
dobře.
when you come through the line. It's sold to you. Come on, the two of you
Dobře,
come up.
dobře, je to vaše.
We
Pojďte
have to make
sem.
sure she looks good in it.
Pro vás potom něco budu mít.
Come on. Yay. Come up. There's the stairs here. Be careful.
Pojďte tudy.
Give it to him.
Dejte mu to.
Is that good? Thank you very much, the queen. Very good. All right, are we finally? Oh, okay.
Last one.
I know. I this is an original painting
Ale původní malba
of Captain Janeway,
kapitána
otherwise known
Janeway.
as Kate Mulgrew,
Známe
Signed.
jako Kate Mulgrew.
by Kate Mulgrew,
Podepsána Kate
and
Mulgrew.
staring straight at you.
A hledí přímo na vás.
And she's looking at you and she's saying, "Who wants me? Who really wants me?"
A tím podmanivým zrakem říká,
For
kdo z vás mě
500
chce.
crowns. Nobody.
Za 500 korun.
In the very, very back at the table.
Tamhle někdo vzadu.
That a girl, one of my own
Výborný
team.
děvče.
That's sort of pathetic, but that's good. Good. 500 crowns. Do I hear 600 crowns?
Dá někdo
Look at this.
600?
600. 700?
700?
700. 8?
8?
1,000 for this beautiful painting. Do I hear 1,200?
Dá někdo
1,200.
2000. 2000. 2000.
2,000 crowns, he's saying.
2000 korun.
And how much is that?
$100.
Well, somebody painted this. I mean, I can't. It's worth much more than that. How much? Crowns. What's that?
A bit above $100.
Somebody painted this. I didn't have anything to do with it. And it's quite beautiful. And I think that it's worth at least, it's worth at least 250 American dollars.
Podle mě aspoň $250.
I don't know what that is in crowns.
Nevím, kolik je to v korunách.
Probably 80 million. I mean, the system is crazy. How about 250 American dollars and we'll convert it into crowns and that'll be the end of the story. $250?
$250, 3800 korun.
Hand-painted portrait. That's it. Come on up and get it.
Tak, pojďte
Attaboy.
zpátky nahoru.
And we're done with this auction. Come up.
A konec aukce.
Bravo. There you go. Děkuji. Thank you very much.
Děkuji mnohokrát.
Take it home.
Vezměte si ho.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You're a great group. Let's go in the other room and take some pictures. All right.
A teď
Thank you.
budeme vedle a budeme se fotit.